Yo, so if the devil is in the details, then God must be the story. So, you know, as we start to dive deeper into consciousness, right, and we start to go deeper into our esoteric thoughts and our esoteric information, right, we understand the nature of God. Now, for those who are still new to, you know, consciousness, and those that are still into Christianity and the church and many different things like that, then we have to give you a perspective in which you could kind of comprehend when it comes to what source is. When we're talking about the Most High, we're talking about source. Now, in your own Bible, it says that ye are God's sons of the Most High. It says that, you know, about Abraham's dedication to you know, Melchizedek and the Most High, and how, you know, everybody honors the Most High because the Most High is the Bible's version of what we call source, because source is this wholeness of all consciousness in this unification, right? So what you're saying is that, and obviously we can go into breaking down many different parts of what these things are, but what I'm saying is, if the devil's in the details, meaning whenever we say a devil, we're not really saying a devil. We're talking about an aspect. So a devil just means to cause division or to cause confusion. You feel what I'm saying? In the mind. So not always confusion, but division especially means that not all, just because you have an angel and a demon don't mean that one is better than the other, because ultimately you're talking about two halves of a wholeness. This is why we say wholeness, because wholeness is talking about 360 degrees of a circle. So, and then we understand that we have 360 degrees of spiritual and physical space. So this is talking about geometric patterns and shapes. This comes from frequency. This is why we talk about frequency, because frequency is alluding to the nature of God expressing itself in energy and motion. So we understand that everything down here is basically because of motion, and motion is only caused by energy when it's you know, pretty much when you're talking about creating atoms and creating molecules and creating structures that inside of water. And that's all you need to know, right? We don't need to go too deep in that. I have plenty of videos on that. But to stay on topic and to keep it very simple, what I'm saying is that the nature of God is not confusing. It only gets confusing when you don't know yourself. So the first thing we do as beings that are spiritual beings that are in tune with ourselves, our etheric selves, our light bodies, in tune with the nature of source. You feel what I'm saying? If y'all wanna, y'all say God, but God is a title. But when we're talking about source just means the source energy. But y'all like to go by titles, so we say God. But understand that for the people that get offended, God can mean many different gods. God can mean many different things. So this is why we don't get caught up into the names too much, because you get caught up into the name. You want to say somebody is an idol worshiper, but that comes from a Bible. Remember, a Bible, it comes from a piece of paper. Now, I want you to understand, all the information is in the database of your mainframe of your system when you're talking about the DNA and the RNA. Now, DNA is the soul. RNA is the spirit. You understand that how these two work in tandem and work together. So, that being said, all your DNA being in your Akashic, or being in your ether, or being in the records of your mind, what I'm saying is this information is stored and it's brought back to your memory because you forgot who you were. So, and we talk about this all the time in consciousness when we say people forget who they are. But what I'm really saying is this aspect of yourself will never be this aspect of you again. So that being said, you had to come down and forget to become it's almost like I take all that information and all that energy that I learned when I was down there, down in a physical existence, and I utilized it for the betterment of things, you know, throughout the whole realms, throughout all the realms. So when we're saying, you know, the nature of God, we're saying that God is a term that y'all utilize for everything. You don't understand that the source energy is the source of the universe. When we're talking about brought into creation, it's self-manifested. It's all of us. You understand that that it wants to live out an experience, and we talk about this, right? About a whole experience of this big story or game that we call light and dark, that we call push and pull, good and bad, and these different things, these universal forces. But rhythm and all these correspondence and many different things, because everything reflects. So what you're saying is, to understand the nature of God, all you have to do is understand the nature of yourself. And when you start to understand the nature of yourself, as above, so below, as within, as without, then you will start to be able to make the correlations between what God is and what you are. And no, there's no separation between you and God, because God is everything living on experience. You have a soul inside of you, which is your eternal essence. You have a spirit inside of you that will eventually be transformed again. You have a physical body that will be transformed again. These are many different phases of yourself. See, so what you're saying is, anytime somebody gets caught up into a demon, right? They don't understand. What you're saying is you have a version of yourself that is angels and a version of yourself that is demon. Because what you're saying is the lower nature versus the higher nature. So you're saying a feminine nature versus a masculine nature. Then you're saying a negative nature versus a positive nature. So what you're getting at is like I was telling people, when you're doing consciousness, it's like a plus sign, because we're talking about, this is how we're just the electromagnetic waves, you feel me, horizontal and vertical waves. When you talk about what do they call it, dielectric, pressure coming down from the center, and then you have that oscillates on the magnetic field. You're talking about, so you have positive and negative electromagnetic energy, and this gets, as we start to go through the different aspects of the realms, as this light that is consciousness that comes from electromagnetic energy is piercing these different parts of this ether, different parts of this space, you understand that things are refracted in water, and in this water you can create music, you can create magic, in terms of you creating realms, you creating worlds. So you understand that molecules are the structure or the elements. Obviously it's atoms, but then atoms make these molecules that create these structures of the substances of whatever we're going to be utilizing. So, but all of these come from one substance, from magnetism. So which comes from the mind. So what I'm saying is, God is not just the mind. God is literally everything in existence. But we don't use the term God, because God will never be the full totality of what divine energy really is. And so divine is not even a full enough word. We just say that because that's as close as we can get. You feel what I'm saying? But in actuality, when you're talking about who is God or what is God or the nature of God, you want to understand the nature of God is you. And you only know the nature of God if you can discover more aspects of yourself. So once you start to understand the totality of yourself, then you can start to understand the nature of God. You can make that correlation, as above, so below. As people talk about, quantum physics and superposition, they talk about quantum entanglement and different things like that. All it is reflection. It's parts of a whole. Just to keep it very, very simple, think of pieces of a pie. You feel me? It's something. When you're talking about all these different things that make the realms, it seems complicated, but it's very simple. But they overcomplicate things. They will always. When I say they, I just mean the people who are lower in consciousness will always confuse you with the mind. Clarity is brought in the higher spaces. This is why we don't argue about God. You let a Christian be a Christian. You let a Muslim be a Muslim. You let a Hindu, somebody that is in Hinduism be that. You know what I'm saying? Buddhism, same thing. All these different cultures, you let them be what they truly want to be. They're on that frequency.